All right, guys. So a friend of mine, Hawk, just sort of brought this video to my attention from Harris, and the video's title is Twitch is pushing streamers over to Kick. I've got my own sort of opinions on Kick, but I do want to hear what other people are saying because I think it's good to have a serious debate and learn as much as you can about anything before you really jump into the deep end. So I'm curious to see what Harris has to say. So let's go ahead. Let's hop into this. Let's see what they say, and I'll give my opinions and take on it.
Hey, are you ready for me to paint you a turd-colored picture of the streaming space right now? Because that's what I'm going to do. We're going to have some fun doing it. Let's just go through and update all the important stuff going on right now. 2, let's have a nice consensus at the end of it. Like, okay, so this is the nature of streaming. What should I do? What decisions do I make? And then 3, we're going to do this and we're going to not be sad. Because that's the nature of being a
How you doing, Laoshi?
content creator and an entrepreneur. You need to be aware of the space so you can make the decisions to be creative, be innovative, and do some great things and make some money as a content creator. Let's start by trimming the fat, getting the easy ones out of the way early. Facebook gaming. Remember that thing?
Facebook gaming. Yeah, remember that. You guys remember it?
Facebook shut down their gaming app almost a year ago. It's saying, hey, don't worry, it's still on the website. But now, as of like last week, they shut down their application to partnership. So you literally can't even apply to be a Facebook gaming partner.
And the reason, one of the reasons is producing and maintaining a streaming platform is very expensive, and it's not easy to do. And that's why everybody that has came into the space has left the space except for Twitch
Right now.
And I would say if Twitch had like very, very, very viable, hardcore sort of competition, like real competition, Amazon would probably cut it. Amazon would look at their profit margins and go, if we have to do X, Y, and Z to be more competitive, it is not worth it for us as a business model, and they would cut it loose.
Now, let's just call a spade here. Facebook gaming is over. I mean, Facebook gaming was never truly 100% there to begin with, but it's gone. I'll say what I said a long time ago when they were pretending to be in the fight, and that you should probably keep in mind moving forward, which is if a platform's main monetization strategy doesn't actually involve content creators, it's probably not a great place for you to try to build your content creation business. Facebook doesn't make money off creators, so Facebook doesn't care to see creators succeed, and that's just an important.
All right, so that's important, right? That is important. Okay, that's true. If the company that you're working for doesn't really make money off of you, then you should probably be worried if they're going to do everything they can to keep you. Do not forget, Twitch's parent company is Amazon.
Variable in the decision-making
I just want to throw that out there.
process, but cool. Got Facebook out of the way. Let's jump over to YouTube, a company whose main focus is on content creation. However, they've been bumming me out. As someone who moved to YouTube a while ago and had a lot of hopes for YouTube, it feels like they've taken a 180-degree turn at least in their live streaming agenda here. I know Google had a ton of layoffs, and I know a lot of those people were from the content side. It's why you don't see any YouTube originals going on anymore. It's why you haven't seen any updates to the live streaming space in forever. It feels like YouTube dove in head first a while back and then realized recently what Twitch learned a couple years ago, which was hosting a live streaming platform is really expensive and it's just not profitable.
Exactly. YouTube learned the same thing that Twitch learned, and the same thing that Facebook gaming learned, which is that the live streaming portion of the business is not viable. YouTube makes a lot of its money from ad revenue, from content that's evergreen and all this other stuff. That's where they're making their money, and from sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So if they're not making a lot of money with the live streaming portion of their business, they're not going to invest a lot in it.
And with the tech space being hit as much as it is, and especially with the rise of short form content, it feels to me, again, this is not any insider information, but it feels to me like their focus is entirely on shorts. And they had a limited amount of resources that they were planning on putting to live streaming. And they're like, hey guys, this is going to be a lot of money spent and very little money gained. However, TikTok is making ridiculous money. Let's put money over there instead. And look, I don't know if that's not true, or maybe it's partially true, but it's just a gross oversimplification. But either way, YouTube is not feeling like a great place for people to jump ship to and stream full time on. It seems more like a supplementary place for people to make videos and then connect with their audience.
And I can see that. The question I have about sort of TikTok and sort of that short form space is just how much money is being made there for the platform and for its creators. I really want to see the hard data that says being a TikTok creator over a long period of time is viable, and you can make money at it, and that it's not just the top 50, top 100 TikTokers that are making it, and that people are occupying that space for an extended period of time. And it's not just like, yeah, I came in and I did, good for 6 months and my videos were trending and then I dropped off and I never got picked back up. So I do want to see that, and I can see why YouTube is going for the shorts, because people already have the, the app and everything, so they can just push the content. So I'm curious, but I'm also curious to see if it's even a viable strategy to make money. You can get a lot of ads in between all these shorts or between all these TikToks. So I'm curious about TikTok's one of those things that I've been curious about for a while.
Over there once a week, once every other week, and monetize another way. The real meat I want to talk about just in the last couple weeks is Kick and Twitch. Individually, both very interesting. Together, super interesting. So let's jump into that.
I really don't think listen to the whole
Twitch
thing.
Can really only be described right now as a dumpster fire that has been picked up and dropped into a larger dumpster, which has then been set on fire. What's happened recently?
Now, I'm curious to hear why he says that. It's just, no, I know why he did it. I'm curious to see why he says that about Twitch. I'm not defending Twitch, I'm just curious.
Let's go over it. So first off, Emmett Shear, their CEO of over 16 years, just quit. And let's be real, the guy has been checked out for a while. He actually deleted Twitch out of his Twitter bio like a year ago. The guy, who I've never met, seems to me like a guy who was a creative dude, had a really cool idea, which happened to turn into a massive billion-dollar company, and frankly had no experience running a giant company. And I feel that. I empathize with that a lot. But due to one reason or another, his experience, the extremely fast growth, whatever, was not prepped to run a company like Twitch. Maybe did the best he could. I want to give people the...
So Twitch did well, right? But I do want to talk about this really quick. So I do want to talk about this Twitch viewership. I do want to talk about this because Twitch had a lot of growth, right? Twitch did have a lot of growth, and Twitch did very well. But then there was this period right here, and this is what I want to talk about. Do you see Twitch's growth here up through 2017, 2018, 2019? And then it started to decline into 2020. And Twitch's viewership declined pretty much for a year. And then the pandemic hit. And then from the height of the pandemic, Twitch's viewership has started to decline again. So Twitch is the only thing that really saved Twitch, because Twitch, people were talking about the death of Twitch in 2019, before the pandemic hit. So people need to be aware of that.
The benefit of the doubt, but it's been a wild ride recently. He left, and a lot of things have changed since then. He left it up to Dan Clancy, who's been high up there, basically the number 2 for a while now. If you're not familiar with Dan Clancy, it's the guy who wrote the letter to Twitch streamers saying the reason that the split is 50-50 is because we wanted to show you that we're all in this together. I don't know who signed off on that being put in that newsletter, but that is...
Yeah, taking your split from 70-30, which most of us didn't have, down to 50-50 was a slap in the face.
It's like, that's like he was trying to manipulate you, and he was just really bad at it. This is also the guy that multiple large creators have met with and walked away from, saying this guy is completely out of touch, has no idea what he's doing. So really looking forward to this new era of Twitch.
I also want to be very transparent. I don't know how many content creators and streamers and really viewers that care know this, but your CEO, your president, your whatever of any company, while they do have some say, a lot of things goes to your board of directors and your board of directors are watching the stock price, and they're trying to make sure that the company is profitable, and they're trying to make sure everybody's making money. So even if you have the best CEO or the best president or the best CFO or the best C-suite in the business, that doesn't necessarily mean that all the decisions are going to be right, or even that those people have the final say. So seeing like key members depart from a team is always painful, but there's always a lot more that goes into it, and one person generally doesn't steer any ship.
And then, of course, immediately afterwards announced there are massive layoffs.
Especially if you're a publicly held company. If you're a private held company that's not like traded on the stock exchange and whatever, you have a little bit more like lateral movement, because normally your board of directors are probably your C-suite members, but that's a whole nother sort of thing.
Not only to Twitch, but also just Amazon as a whole, and 400 Twitch employees are being let go. And this announcement came, it is, by the way, it's Thursday night, the 23rd. This announcement came like last week. They announced 400 people were going to be let go, and they haven't announced who yet.
So if you don't know, you normally don't lay off a lot of people when a company is doing well. You don't look at your company and look at record profits and go, man, our company is doing awesome. We're happy with the direction of the company. Let's lay off 400 people. Typically, a mass layoff like this is sort of a way to try to stem some bleeding that, right, wrong, or indifferent, the company thinks is coming from bloat and a few other things. It's not necessarily going to fix anything, but it's never a good sign, because to me, it signals that Twitch is still not achieving the levels of profit that Amazon wants it to. And that is troublesome.
All these people are coming back to work every day not knowing if they have a job next week. Like, that's wild. This guy's been CEO for less than a week, and already he's destroyed the morale of all the streamers and all the employees. So I can see why people are moving to Kick. And I mean that, by the way. As a big skeptic of Kick, I have a really hard time saying, no, don't go to Kick, stay on Twitch. That's where you're safe. It just sounds ridiculous to say that. The bottom line with Twitch is, don't expect things to get any better. The way Twitch is the way Twitch will be, unless Dan steps down and someone who knows what they're doing is taking its place. But it looks like it's...
So I don't think that's a fair characterization. Twitch is the way Twitch is because it's the way Twitch has to be to try to maintain a business. I don't like some of the parts of the business model, but there's a reason that this company, with just an astronomical amount of resources, is making the business decisions that it's making. So a smaller, more independent company might have a little bit more lateral movement at its size, but as it grows, it will run into the same things. And earlier in the video, we talked about how Facebook Gaming shut down, how YouTube isn't really focusing on its live service, like it's streaming as much. There are reasons for this.
It's being more and more assimilated into Amazon, and who knows, maybe they'll sell the tech at some point soon, because it looks like they're not really trying anymore. So is that the advice? Go to Kick? Well, let's talk about Kick. Got a lot of people moving over to Kick, got a lot of big streamers moving over to Kick, but it seems like I see two things about Kick on my Twitter timeline. I either see a bunch of small to medium-sized streamers saying, I want that 95-5 split, I'm moving over there now, or I see Aiden Ross either showing porn or talking with Nazis on his live stream, completely unmoderated. I don't know what to think about like the culture and the TOS, because it doesn't seem like there is any. It's this weird enigma that took advantage of this opportunity and hasn't really considered any of the important variables around it.
They haven't really considered any of the business decisions around it, or if it's even viable. And that is a problem. That is very much a problem.
They saw streamers upset with the 50-50 split, and they said, screw it. We are a gambling company. That's not how we make our money. Let's give them 95% and do something that Twitch cannot replicate no matter what.
And the only way that's going to work is if it is a gambling company, and that they're not making their money from subs and stuff like that. They're making their money from people throwing away their money gambling, because the house always wins. So no matter what, money is always going to filter into the house, and it's digital gambling.
And that's kind of all they have going for them, a 95-5 split, which I get it. That's enticing, but I want to talk about that real quick.
Yep, because the 95-5 split sounds really good. And most small to mid-sized streamers are going to talk about how that's life-changing. But most upper mid-sized to large streamers don't make their money from subs. They make it from ad deals and brand deals. And those guys aren't going to touch a kick streamer with a 10-foot pole. But there are companies that had to shift during the pandemic are now adjusting because their work shifted, at least in the place you work. What do you mean, Psycho?
I said this in the last video. I grew up in Nevada. I'm very familiar with casinos. And that's what Kick at its core is. It's owned by Stake. It is a gambling company. It is not a live streaming platform, and that same advice I talked about Facebook applies here. This company's monetization strategy has nothing to do with the success of their streamers. It's entirely based on how much exposure they can bring to their gambling, how many people they can get addicted to gambling so that they can, I'm going to use the word, they can steal from them. That's what gambling is, by the way. Gambling is theft.
Yeah, I mean, there are ways where, like, if you're playing poker against 3 other people or 4 other people and there is no house, you could maybe win. But even still, in gambling like that, the house takes a rake, so they always get paid for every hand that's dealt. So they're still winning even though they have no skin in the game, right? But at the end of the day, if you're playing slots, if you're playing any of that, the house always wins. Always.
It's legal theft. They can afford to give 95% of their sub revenue to streamers because gambling is so lucrative. I mean, think of all the...
Gambling's lucrative because it doesn't cost them anything. Gambling is so lucrative because the odds are stacked to where the house always wins in the long term. So it's literally the ability to print money.
People we've seen lose millions. We got Slicker that has lost millions of other people's money. We got DNP3 who lost millions of other people's money. We all got super upset about it on Twitter.
Because people are out of work, now that people are back to work, they had to move and cut people. And that's fair. And that might be part of it. Like, part of it was there was this massive explosion on Twitch, right? We just looked at the numbers. Millions more viewers than there were just 2 years ago. And it's already showing that there's going to be a decline. So Twitch probably hired additional staff to help with those influx of viewers and Twitch partners and all these issues. And now that the trajectory showing it's going to trend downward, they don't need all the extra help, right? So that makes sense.
And then we're jumping straight over to Stake. And what concerns me most is that most people aren't seeing the parallels between what Kick is doing and what casinos do, which is throwing out the giant flashy signs, making the place look exciting and fun, all the showgirls and everything, and just like, ooh, this is a place of excitement. And then, of course, the promises. The showing the jackpot money on the screen. This could be yours. You could become a millionaire tonight.
Yep. And that's, I mean, if you're Stake, right, you can afford to pay to bot your company to get viewers up. You can afford to throw money out, to gift subs out, to get people there. You can do all that because all it takes is somebody starting to gamble.
This is how casinos work. It is enticement, it's false promises, and then it's pulling the rug out from under you once you're hooked. And Kick mirrors that a lot. Try to find substance in their platform.
How you doing, Ouija?
You can't, because it's literally a copy and paste from Twitch. Their entire marketing strategy is the 95.5, because if you just spend more than 5 seconds looking at the website, you realize they didn't spend any time building it. This whole platform for streamers is just Twitch's platform turned green. It's just concerning to me to watch it.
Yeah, we're kind of discussing Kick and what I think of it, what my thoughts are on the platform, and what other people are kind of thinking, and whether I think it's viable and other people think it's viable.
Company puts zero effort into building a culture and a business and a platform to help people grow to help content creators grow their own businesses. There's no effort done there. Instead, they're using those enticement tactics, and then they're feeding into the narrative that people are so upset about, which is Twitch takes half of your money.
I give it a try, but kind of find it sus, the 95.5. And that's what Harris is talking about. It's the 95.5. The only reason they can do that is because they're propped up by a casino company or a gambling website. And then my biggest issue is that most of the people on Kick right now are content creators and not content consumers. And my biggest concern is that it's all content creators, and content creators are going to watch other content creators, and they're going to do everything that they need to do. Yeah, so no people who don't really stream, and you need people who are there to be community members and to consume your content. And what it reminds me of is Hover. I don't know if you spent any time with Hover, but mainly streamers knew about Hover, but the general public didn't really know anything about Hover, and it lasted about a year, and then it fell apart because the only people on it were content creators and not content consumers.
Which they do, by the way. This is a valid tactic, but Twitch takes half of your money. We don't do that. You get scammed at Twitch, don't get scammed over here. And the point that I'm trying to make is they just haven't scammed you yet. Gambling is always fun until it's not. So now what am I saying? Am I saying go back to Twitch? I'm laughing because the answer is not in favor of any of these. I don't like any of the streaming platforms right now, and it's becoming more and more apparent to me that unless you are in the top 0.01%, streaming cannot be profitable.
Streaming is tough, and I understand the sentiment that right now no streaming platform looks appealing. And that's because the business model of putting content out there isn't really viable. And for most content creators, it's not viable either. You either have to do a very niche thing, and only that niche thing, and hope that nobody leaves you, just to be able to sustain. Not to survive or thrive, just to sustain. And unless you're at the very top of the game, you're not really making a lot of money or even really able to deal with things, and you're an independent contractor. So if you get sick, you don't have health insurance, depending on what country you live in, you could be fucked right there. So content creation is one of those things that is very, very tough and very, very challenging. And there was so much information that you aren't provided when you first start that would really change a lot of people's minds in the long run.
Can never give the return on the investment that you put into it, because that's just the way this structure is built.
Also, what'd you think of Treya's voice, sis?
The best advice that I can give any aspiring content creator in the content space, and please understand how earnest I'm being with this as someone who was in love with the streaming space for a long time. The absolute best advice I can give is to make streaming supplemental content to video content. Focus on TikToks and shorts and reels, whatever. You can post those all the different places.
Yep. Your streaming content should definitely be supplemental towards some sort of video content, whether it's shorts, TikToks, full-length YouTubes, reels, whatever you're doing to try to make content to find ways to monetize it. And only streaming is very dangerous, because as soon as you're done with that stream, at the end of the day, it's gone. And your ability to make revenue off of that stream is gone as soon as you turn off the go live button.
So you should do that. Focus on creative video content. Focus on learning a skill that makes you unique. Focus on being a marketable entity, and then use live streaming for additional marketing, for additional revenue, for additional reach, for additional intimacy with that audience. Because the way that this normally flows.
And you should, Ouija, you should do YouTube shorts. If you're already making content, you should do YouTube shorts. And for any of my friends out there that are content creators, I will honestly tell you, if you stream 5 days a week, consider streaming 4 days a week and using that one day just to produce content on TikTok and YouTube shorts and reels. And you'll notice that your revenue doesn't really go down, but your exposure goes up, and that will help you immensely. And those are the things that you should be focused on as a content creator. And it's things that people have told me when I first started. It's things that my community manager told me when I first started, when I was growing in Phasmo. And I just kind of like frou-froued the information away, because I was like, oh, I'm sitting here with, 150 concurrent viewers and 1,300 subs, and I'm doing so well, and this is never going to end. It fucking ends. You get burnt out, you get tired, it's over. And then the moment you stop doing it, it's all gone. And at least the longer form content helps. And the short form content, it's more permanent, and it provides you a little bit more stability.
Is people find short form content. That's the most discoverable content there is. This is the filter, by the way.
See more on TikTok? Ah, man, I need to spend more time on TikTok. I don't really do a lot of like funny meme things, so it's really hard for me to do well on TikTok. I spend most of my time over on the YouTubes. I need to try to do more TikTok, but in order to do more TikTok, I either need to cut hours or I need to cut days.
Find short form content, and from the short form, they're willing to watch the long form.
Exactly. They find your short form, they watch it for a couple seconds, 30 seconds, whatever. They'll come watch your long form content. And then if they're watching your long form content and they find out that you're a Twitch streamer, they might sit and watch your YouTube or your Twitch content, and they might gift subs and bits out because they enjoy your content on other platforms and they're looking for a way to support you. That is the true key. Just uploaded same video on YouTube. Yep. It's the best way to do it.
And then they get addicted to that long form content. They build that relationship with you. They see that content of substance, and they want to see the person behind that, and they watch your live streams. Very rarely does someone go from short form content to live content. That is a huge leap.
It is very true. Somebody going from watching your TikTok or somebody going from watching 30 seconds of your YouTube short to coming to watch you live on Twitch is a giant leap. It's not to say that people won't do it, but that's a pretty big leap. It is more possible for somebody to watch a 30-second YouTube short and go, ah, this was cool. Okay, I've seen this guy's YouTube shorts 7 times. Oh, he posted a YouTube video. I'm going to watch it. That's going to happen. And then if somebody's been watching your YouTube videos for 6 months, they might go, I do want to know this guy. What is this fucking Twitch thing that they keep talking about? I'm going to download Twitch. They'll download Twitch. They'll find you. That's how that's going to go. It is a very long, very convoluted process. And that's why most people fail, is because they can't take that much time.
Normal flow chart goes short form to long form to live stream. And I would recommend diving into that. I love you. I love you a lot. And we're not sad here today. Here's a little nugget for you that
This guy's fucking good. This guy's smart. I agree with a lot of what he said here, because it's a lot of the things we've been focusing on ourselves. And there's a reason we're focusing on it. I have kind of backed off a little bit on YouTube Shorts because I didn't really have anything to make YouTube Shorts on, but I'm definitely going to have to start doubling back down on those. Depending on how that's going to affect my content, we'll find out.
I try to always remind myself. People always ask if it's a zero-sum game or if it's not, and it's always somewhere in between. And the bottom line is, when things are going bad for everyone, that's when the largest opportunities to break through and do something fantastic are. Stream Beats, the music company, which by the way, we released a new single and a music video with Fuslie. I'm going to link to that down below also. But Stream Beats took off during the giant DMCA wave, which was a bad thing to happen, but it allowed for a business opportunity. There is a scramble in the content space right now, and giant holes are being made in the map of what we're looking at. There are opportunities to fill those holes. I don't want to see any weird comments about that phrase.
So this guy brought up a lot of good points. I definitely agree with a lot of them. Hopefully you guys sort of took something away from that video. I feel like this was a great video, and this was a way better video than the video we just watched before this about sort of like Kick versus Twitch and where you should spend your time. I think this was an excellent sort of conversation and discussion. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my take and sort of my thoughts and comments on it. But ultimately, I want to hear what you think. Let me know down in the comments what you think, how you feel about the current sort of vibe of the live streaming space, what you think about short and long form content, and what you think of the discussion and where people need to spend their time. And as always, have a great day.